Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another quick video. All right, y'all, this going down. Back with some more fight announcement news here. Claressa Shields. Claressa Shields is going to be making her debut against Brittney Elkin coming June 10th for the PFL 2021 season. And this is in the women's lightweight division. That's 155. So, yeah, man, it's going down. Information's right here. But what I wanted to talk about in this video here is I don't want to do a full breakdown. I just kind of want to give you my thoughts on the fight and kind of address this to the boxing fans that are coming over to see Claressa Shields challenge herself. First off, I have to say this is going to be a tough fight. Not just for Brittney Elkin, but even more so for Claressa Shields. You know, look, I want to see Claressa Shields prosper. I want to see her make an even bigger legacy by going into mixed martial arts and doing good. But she has to understand that going into this fight is very, very dangerous. You know, and for her boxing fans, you know, I'm a boxing fan of her as well. You know, I'm a diehard boxing fan, but I'm also an MMA fan. I also know that going into this fight against an opponent that's 3-6, that can still be very dangerous. You know, we can look at the record and say, oh, she's going to do this. She's going to knock this girl out. She's going to wash her. You can say all that, but it's not going to play out that way. This fight here is more than a debut for Claressa Shields. You know, some fighters, they come in and 0-0, they make their debut against a fellow 0-0 fighter to just kind of break into the doors, you know, shake that, shake those jitters off, the first time jitters off against a fellow opponent of the same caliber, you know. But going into this fight here, Claressa's really taking a big task against a fighter that's 3-6. This girl has experience under her belt, and that's what people have to understand. The experience in boxing is one thing. You could be 0-0 and going against a fighter that's 0-6 or maybe 1-6, but the fight game is the same. It's always the same. You know, it's the same sport. It's the same discipline, boxing. You know what they're going to bring to the table. So you could risk a person in boxing making their debut against a guy that has 7 losses, or maybe they are 2-7 or something like that. But going into the octagon, it's a different game because this is a sport of many disciplines. That's why it's called mixed martial arts. See, a lot of people don't understand. They just think the discipline is called UFC. But no, it's mixed martial arts. It's called that for a reason. This includes boxing. This includes Muay Thai. This includes kickboxing, Taekwondo, karate, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, grappling, wrestling, whatever. You know, it includes all of that. So for your first fight, you would really want to go in there against a fighter that's 0-0 like you, that's, you know, kind of not knowing what to expect yet. You know what I mean? As far as on a professional level, they'll kind of have the same jitters as you. But going into this one, just my thoughts on this fight. Claressa could win this fight, but it's going to be a very, very tough fight. It's a real tough exam for her here. You know, it's really pushing the gun for her because you're going in there with a fighter that's been challenged by other fighters like Gabrielle Holloway. You know, she's been in there with Latoya Walker, Kayla Harrison. I know some of these are foreign names to you boxing fans, but I know this level of fighter. You know, somebody like Brittney Elkin, you know, she can throw them hands. You know, of course, Claressa Shields, she can really throw hands. But Brittney Elkin can take this fight to the ground, and that's what a lot of people have to understand. Going into this fight, it's a major test because this fighter that may have some losses on her belt, these losses are also learning experience in many departments. You know, so you don't know what this fighter is going to bring. So going back to making your debut, that's different from boxing is when you go into MMA, this fighter with losses, they might have strengths that you don't have. You know, you might come in there as a striker, and this fighter here might be more so vulnerable to other grapplers, and that's why they have all these losses. But they might have some grappling skills they picked up along the way. So you go in there thinking you can outstrike this person or knock this person out. Boom, they take you to the ground, and boom, they're on top of you. You're on your back. What are you going to do? You know, I know Claressa is training for all this. You know, she's training to learn how to fight off her back. But you're dealing with a fighter in Brittney Elkin that's learning. You know, she's already come from that background. You know, she's been in jiu-jitsu, you know, she's been in the grappling tournaments, you know. So people have to understand a 3-6 in MMA can be very dangerous. It can be very dangerous because this person has seen so many different things. They've seen so many different styles, and they learn a lot on the way. You know, whenever they find out that they don't know enough of this, they go and say, okay, I need to start going to grappling tournaments. And speaking of grappling tournaments, that's one thing that people have to understand. This fight will very well go to the ground because Brittney Elkin has been busy last year. She has been in 7 grappling bouts. You know, I think she might be 4-3 in the grappling bouts, but in 2020 she's been very active. She's been going to these grappling tournaments. She's really been working on her ground game. You know, so this is a very dangerous first fight just for that reason for Claressa Shields. Now, if Claressa Shields has been really working on her transition from boxing into striking, then she could make this a very difficult fight for the grappler. You know, if she's perfecting how to throw that jab as a striker and stay on her feet like a striker, I keep saying striker, I'm emphasizing that just for you boxing fans, you know, then she could definitely very well have a chance in this fight. But striking is very different from boxing. And it's going to be very different for a boxer like Claressa Shields. You know, Claressa's not really on the balls of her feet like a Holly Holm was. You know, she's not that type of athletic. You know, she's more so bottom heavy, and, you know, she could be a little bit more stationary with her punches. You know, she'll throw with more aggression and more strength behind her punches. But going into mixed martial arts, she's going to have to be more so on the balls of her feet so she can get away from those leg kicks. You know, that's another thing we factor in with striking. You know, we're talking about kicks and knees. You know, we're talking about elbows and forearms, fighting in the clinch. So if Claressa Shields has really polished up this transition of her boxing into striking, then she could very well win this fight, because she could keep this fight on the end of a jab. And how do you beat a striker? How do you beat a wrestler or grappler? If you're a stand-up fighter, you pump that jab out. You pump that jab out, and you follow it up with leg kicks. And that's another thing. If Claressa's been working on the leg kicks, then we could definitely very well see a good stand-up version of Claressa just transitioning in and maybe just winning the decision here, or possibly stopping Brittney Elkin on that element, you know. But if it goes to the ground, it's definitely going to favor Brittney Elkin. It's definitely going to favor Brittney Elkin early in this fight, at this early stage in Claressa Shields' career. So yeah, man, I just wanted to come through here and kind of give you my thoughts on the fight. I think it's probably the best fight for Claressa in PFL, because PFL is full of veterans. It's full of veterans right now. We're talking about Sydney Danois, Caitlin Young, Kayla Harrison, among a few other names that I can't name off the top. Checo. So many veterans in this league. So even though her fight is, I don't think her fight is in an actual tournament, but it's still tough. It's still a tough test for her. You know, I would have rather seen Claressa start off on a lower level like Cage Fury or LFA. You know, going against a fighter that's making their debut, somebody that would kind of give her, you know, the same respect that she would give, so they could kind of vibe off each other just for that first fight, if that makes sense, you know. Because going into this fight, Claressa will definitely have to very well be a polished striker, not a boxer for you boxing fans. Y'all boxing fans keep saying she's going to go in there and knock this girl out. Well, she hasn't knocked many people out in boxing. She outboxes and outskills people. Only has 2 knockouts. So going into this fight here, we're going to need to see a polished striker in here. We're going to need to see Claressa Shields popping that jab off, throwing combinations, and being lighter on her feet to get away from those leg kicks. You know, she's going to have to be less, she's going to have to be on the balls of her feet, not stationary, you know, less front foot heavy. You know, can't lead on that lead foot. You know, she's going to have a mixture of all that. She's going to have to be prepared to be pressed to the fence. You know, press to the fence and know about that head control, because, you know, I could see Brittney Elkin pressing her to the fence to nullify the boxing and putting the head in her chest till eventually she can get that single leg and get her to the ground. So I'm just playing all these scenarios out in my head. Like I said, I want to see Claressa do good in this sport because I am a fan of her in boxing, but I want to see her take the right approach here. And going into this fight here, just to be smart, she's going to really have to make sure that she's a polished kickboxer and striker going into this fight. So yeah, let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. I know MMA fans, y'all are going to agree with me. Y'all are going to agree with me, but boxing fans, they won't so much. They think Claressa's going to go in there and knock this girl out and be prepared for Amanda Nunes by the summer. But come on, y'all got to be realistic. Mixed martial arts, this sport takes forever to learn, and I'm talking about fighters in their late 30s. They're still learning. Fighters in their late 30s are still learning. Fighters are not really in their prime until they get in their mid-30s or their late 30s. That's whenever you're like at your most well-roundedness, where you're just like, okay, I can choose what I want to do against certain fighters. But that takes years. That takes L's. You know what I mean? So you just know that Claressa might not have the same success that she did in boxing over here in mixed martial arts. It's a big game. It's a mixed bag. Hence the name mixed martial arts, y'all. But yeah, my final thoughts. Claressa keeps it standing. It'll all be her. I just think she pumps the jab out. Like I said, throws good combinations. Doesn't really try to sit down on her punches too much, and, you know, just throws with authority and works some good leg kicks in there. You know, we could see her out strike her way and maybe even fight on the inside, her way to a decision. But if it goes to the ground, and we don't know, Brittney Elkin might be developing her striking to get takedowns in this fight. You know, if it goes to the ground, it's going to be a very tough fight. And, you know, I will have to favor Brittney Elkin when it goes to the ground. Because, again, y'all check her record, man. She's been working. This girl's been working. I've been seeing some of her stuff on YouTube here. This girl's been working she's been working on the grappling circuit. That's what you got to do. 7 grappling bouts in 2020 lets you know that, look, she's going to be taking this fight to the ground.